The ANC is idiotic, top to bottom. The people of South Africa have not benefited from BEE. The black population of South Africa have not benefited from BEE. This is one area with which Julius Malema has been right. He said instead of giving 26% of the company once again to the same old guys like Patrice Motsepe, why not give it as a 13th check to your employees, make them shareholders? I agree with him on that. That would have been a way better solution. So BEE has failed. The socialist dogma of the ANC has failed. The ideology of the ANC has failed. We need to reinstall free market principles, capitalism. The ANC's doctrine of socialism is moronic. Anyone who's still a socialist or a communist is fundamentally stupid. Look at East Germany, West Germany, South Korea, North Korea, Cuba, Florida. Look at all the direct comparisons. Julius Malema is clearly a candidate, but that's the end of the world for us. He will destroy the country in milliseconds. So the only solution to South Africa is capitalism and refocus our country to the West. Look at our ministers, our cabinet. They're a cabinet of clowns. There's not a single person in that cabinet, other than maybe Enoch Godongwana, who's, I think, is a good guy. There's not a single other person in that cabinet I would hire in any business anywhere in the world. They are useless, incompetent, stupid, and in many cases, criminal. So, yeah, we've got to vote them out as quickly as possible and then replace them with people that actually know what they're doing. What does Becky Cele know about anything? And he is fundamentally stupid and I reckon corrupt to the core. So we've got to get rid of these people. Cyril's not going to get rid of them. He's spineless. He's going to shuffle the chairs on the Titanic. We'll see a few new faces come in that are equally corrupt and equally stupid. It's not going to change anything. But the people of South Africa, and I'm talking about the majority of South Africans, see it and know it. And load shedding has been the biggest ally to the people that want to change the country because it's directly associated with the ANC, and the ANC is failing us on every front. The ANC's doctrine of socialism is moronic. Anyone who's still a socialist or a communist is fundamentally stupid. Look at East Germany, West Germany, South Korea, North Korea, Cuba, Florida. Look at all the direct comparisons and look at where A, people want to live, and B, where they want to invest, and C, all the indicators of a successful country. Anyone who's still a socialist is stupid to the core. And the ideology of the ANC is socialist. So we've got to go the opposite direction. We've got to privatize, bring in private investment, and rely on business to save us. And business will. My only problem with the corporate South Africa today is they're mostly cowards. They think by keeping quiet, somebody else will fix the problem. It's not going to happen. We the people have got to hit the streets, and we've got to do it now. The ANC has created complete chaos and destruction, and it's not the responsibility of young people to fix that. It's our responsibility. So I would encourage young people, having finished their matrics or university degrees, to find a way to work and live overseas. And then once we've got South Africa back to a position where it can grow again, they can return, and they can return with incredible skills and contacts and even investment capital, which will help South Africa enormously. This country is unique. I lived 31 years overseas, and I couldn't stay away. I came back. My wife's a New Zealander from an amazing country, one of the best run countries in the world, one of the safest, freest countries in the world, and a beautiful country, but she loves it here. She says, this is it. This is the greatest country on the planet. So I think we'll lose a lot of young people, but a lot will return. And those return with such interesting experiences and training that we will benefit massively. Cyril Ramaphosa announced yesterday that after such a delay, is going to allow people to sell electricity, excess electricity, back to the grid. And once again, the DA has been the first and fastest onto it, and have said that they will pay above the odds for excess electricity in the Western Cape to be paid into the grid. This should have happened years ago. So the only solution to South Africa is capitalism, free market, privatization, and refocus our country to the West. I mean, what's Naledi Pandor doing, on behalf of the moronic ANC, flirting with the Russians? It's idiotic. The ANC is idiotic, top to bottom. BEE has been a disaster. It's basically theft, but it's taking, from the pot and giving it to a bunch of elites. the people of South Africa have not benefited from BEE. The black population of South Africa have not benefited from BEE. And this is one area with which Julius Malema has been right. He said instead of giving 26% of the company once again to the same old guys like Patrice Motsepe, why not give it as a 13th check to your employees, make them shareholders? I agree with him on that. That would have been a way better solution. So BEE has failed. The socialist dogma of the ANC has failed. The ideology of the ANC has failed. We need to reinstall free market principles, capitalism. We need to privatize all the state-owned enterprises. And there, in doing that, we will get growth. We will get real growth in our economy. And by realigning with the West, we will get an enormous amount of investment into our country, which we don't get from the communist and socialist countries. So there will be a huge uplift in investment, in growth, in employment. Everyone will benefit. It is that easy. There are 4 presidents, maybe 5, worth considering today. There's spineless Cyril, if the ANC still get elected, but I think he's gone and Paul Mashatile will replace him. But it's just changing deck chairs on the Titanic. Julius Malema is clearly a candidate, but that's the end of the world for us. He will destroy the country in milliseconds. And the ANC is scared of him. They won't do a deal with him because he's way smarter than they are, and he'll own them. The EFF will own the ANC. So I'd skip those guys. So who are the other likely candidates? Herman Mashaba, John Steenhuisen, Gayton McKenzie, Musi Maimane. So take your pick from those 4.
While I would keep on watching and really understanding most of the direction to which this whole election goes on May the 29th, I would just like to probably seek more to understand how the different parties are really understanding the terminology and how probably the EFF's message of One Africa might really encounter a lot of that. We can see that resistance already coming in from within. And I'm sure most of Africans, most of the black populace around the world who seem to resonate with the message of the EFF aren't really conversant with the internal resistance that the EFF seems to be experiencing and how far that would go in that regard. And one thing is for sure, there are many people who have been born and raised and whose only reality seems to be that which has been framed by their understanding of their existence within the South, the space, within the geographical space called South Africa. And to sort of like exclude them from a national consciousness and a wider African consciousness, I think, and I can already see the problems that erupt from that. And that's why many people have termed South Africa as Africa's ticking time bomb, because it's sort of like differs, is more nuanced than most of the politics going around the continent, and really deeply entrenched in its multiracial politicization of issues, and gives a really rich new flavor to African politics that differs from most that occurs in the other parts of Africa. And so I think this was a really explosive comment, a really explosive kickback to the EFF by Neil de Beer, and really interesting facts though, coming from his background being a politician, speaking about how law and order should be at the forefront of these political debates and not necessarily a sort of like a violent space, which South Africa must renege from becoming. But I don't know, what do you guys think about these thoughts? As usual, share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe, because that's the way you support Kwazemi as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.